Alright, so you really want to learn how to make good art. Whether it's music, drawing, painting, pottery, writing, or performing, you want to do it well. But so many people fall into bad habits or pick up bad skills and advice that winds up needlessly tying them down later. But not today. I'll show you how to avoid that entirely. This video won't be make sure your pen is tilted upright or anything like that. No, sir. I'm going to teach you how to think about art, how to change your mindset to make learning easier, and how to avoid mistakes. Prepare to learn. In order to improve your art, in order to make good art, you need to understand what art really is. Art starts when you have a thought or an emotion. Say you feel happy that you got to spend all those years with your best friend, or sad that they have to move away. You want to express that. Or maybe you have an idea about how the world should work. You think, real communism has never been tried, and want to show that it can work. You want to express that. That's the first part of art, the idea. Then there's the execution, how you convey that idea. This is the part that requires skill. If you want to show people that communism can work, you might make a short film about a family that once lived under capitalist rule, but has now been liberated by communist revolutionaries. A film about a world where every comrade gets equal wages, there's food for all, and good, hardworking families no longer have to live under the tyranny of fat cat businessmen and big corporations. Or perhaps instead you do an interpretive dance. It doesn't matter what medium. What matters is how well you convey your idea. There's a really good scene in Dead Poets Society where the students learn about a mathematical formula for writing poetry. The fictional Dr. Pritchard's formula just so happens to measure the exact same two elements I mentioned. You plot the idea on the bottom and the execution up the side, then find the total area to see how good the poem is. While the way this graph is done is great, it sends the idea that poetry is exclusively to be analyzed in a cold, mathematical way, devoid of all feeling. This graph would score high for execution, but low on message. However, it does show that poetry, like all art, comes down to an idea and the expression of that idea. Now that you understand what art is all about, let's get into how you can improve. If you want to be an artist, you need to practice your art. There is no way around that. That is why my first piece of advice is don't be afraid to start. A lot of people find excuses and never actually get around to making anything. One of the most common excuses I see is, oh, I don't have enough money for good equipment. And everyone knows that you can't be good at art if you don't have expensive stuff. Like, boy, you can animate with nothing but a pack of sticky notes and a pencil from the dollar store. You got no excuse. You need practice, not a Cintiq or a Stradivarius. Every great artist started out terrible, and they only got good because they practiced. It can take a lot of courage, but starting the task is half the battle. Don't be afraid to start. When you do get started on creating a piece of art, you most likely have an idea in your head of what you want to create, but maybe you don't know how to get it all out. A good place to start, though, is with the basics. There's a little rule I like to call walls before wallpaper. It means focus on the basics before you get to the fancy stuff. When you want to build a house, you wouldn't start with the wallpaper. This applies to learning as well as creating. I have a lot of trouble following this. When you create a piece of art, it's a structure. There are large foundational pieces like the shapes of the body, upon which rest smaller and smaller details, like texture and shading. Focusing too much on the small parts without getting the basics done first is gonna find yourself buried under a pile of wallpaper with no walls to hold it up. It's just not gonna work. Take it slowly. Build up your piece of art and your skills, basics first. Maybe after a while you run out of ideas or inspiration. Or maybe you're stuck on a tough problem. Either way, a great way to improve and get new ideas is to try new things. Do you usually paint? Try sketching. Do you usually play piano? Try picking up a ukulele. Maybe make a huge change and go from knitting to writing. Or maybe just try painting with a color palette you don't normally use. Trying new things gives you new ideas, more building blocks for your structure. Another great way to get new ideas is to be a part of an art community, whether in real life or online. Other artists can critique your art and give helpful feedback, as well as inspire you to challenge yourself. This is great, because in order to improve, you must leave your comfort zone. If you always draw anime characters, then you'd never learn how to draw realistic eyes. I knew someone who drew anime, but would always draw the people with their hands in their sweatshirt pockets, because they were bad at drawing hands. Please don't do this. Avoiding what you can't do means that you'll never improve. Always try new things and challenge yourself. You will learn, get new ideas, and improve. Art is a construction. It starts with an idea or an emotion. Then you build a structure, foundation first, with every piece contributing to expressing your idea. With enough practice and challenge, you can create amazing things. The sooner you start, the better. Anyways, that's all I have to share for today. So, what are you waiting for? Get started.